Who's childish now?
You're childish.
Stupid podcast. We have a new question after the argument about
Dune that
Daniel not liking
continued
Dune.
off camera, and he's upset at me for disliking the movie.
I am. Very much so.
Why?
Anyway.
I don't dislike it. It's just I didn't read the book, so I didn't understand. And you don't have to look at me like that.
Okay,
Come
what is your
on.
question?
All right, let's start from here. Welcome to another episode of the Stupid Podcast.
It's going on a podcast.
No,
Yes,
it's not going to
yes,
go
it is.
in a podcast.
Let's
All
not
right.
make a podcast about Dune. I'll make a podcast about my view on it. How about that? That'll be good, actually.
That's a
Anyway,
good
what is
idea.
your question?
Okay, so how do you like to approach weaknesses? Because I feel like approaching a weakness is very personal. Do you pick a day for each weakness, or do you like to approach a weakness in assistance work or as a warm up, or
Right.
how do you like it?
So-
Or one day for all? And what happens if you have multiple weaknesses? By the way,
Right. Well, we all do. The question becomes if you have weaknesses in muscle groups or in movements. Right. If you have a weakness in movements, we have to establish whether it's a skill problem or a neural output problem. If it's a neural output, that means you can't connect to the right muscles. So we're going to go back there. If it's a skill, then every day. Skill means volume. So we need a high volume on that.
so you would do like a warm up or something implemented in a workout.
The problem is, well, it depends. If you're new, put it in a warm-up. If you're more advanced and you start failing at a certain percentage, it means you need more work at that percentage. Like whenever it starts to break down, then you're right below that, and then multiple times per week, you're going to attack your weight, basically, until the whatever weakness needs to go through, and sometimes it takes a while. But so the question is always volume in that sense. Like let's say a muscle group is a problem, it's just not growing. For my arms, for example, that don't grow, basically, compared to my back or stuff like that. So it's a small muscle group, right, versus the rest of the body. But I discovered that the thing that worked the best for me is the Arnold Schwarzenegger way. Do them every day. The good news is when you have a weakness, it's not good by definition. That means that you won't get that tired working it. Like I can do arms every day because I can't use that much weight. I can curl 40 kilos-ish and I'm dying. Like 4-7 reps. I mean, just my biceps are just not strong. So the good news is every day I do a set of 10 reps, max weight for 10 reps, then 7 reps and 4 reps.
Yeah.
And I can do it before my training session because it does not tax me or my bicep that much because they are a weakness.
Yeah.
And so I do them. So 5 days a week, every time I train,
You do
I do
the
a
bicep
superset
curl?
bicep and then a
And,
GM press.
Yeah.
And I do that every single session because they're a smaller muscle group and they need that constant reminder that, hey, stay with me, stay here. So shoulder, same thing. Every session I do the Lou raises just to remind the muscle that they has to be activated. The rear delts, same thing. So smaller muscle group, you can work at every day, 2-3 sets. I like to go heavy because it's that neural output connection to the muscle type of thing. And because the muscle is weak, heavy is not that heavy. It's just heavy for the muscle. So
For that specific
muscle. So that means that form has to be perfect. Because if you start to swing for me, naturally when I do curls, I want to use my mid-back. So I can use more weight, but then it's more a mid-back exercise than it is a bicep exercise. Now I get tired from that because that's the strength. So I can't do that. So I put my back against the wall and I do curls so that the bicep does all the work. So the whole Schwarzenegger everyday works if you use perfect form and isolate the muscle. Then it works just fine.
And do you see that with other athletes or coaches too, or is it really you personally?
No, I'm not. I'm not the first one that has gone to the same conclusion. A lot of time is that, like, you want to get better at the movement at the beginning, you do the Bergener warm up on Olympic weightlifting. You just need reps. So same thing for my bicep. They need reps heavy.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is if I do 5 exercises of 5 sets, it's too much. I blow up my biceps because they can't take the work because it's just not there. And then they blow up, and then it takes me 3 days to recover, but by then they're not activated, but everything still aches, and then it's not rolling. So I do 1 exercise every day.
Yeah.
Instead of doing 5 exercises in 1 session, I do 1 exercise in 5 days. That works way better to address a weakness because then it's constant, but you recover fast because the weakness will not recover correctly because It's just not there.
And let's say you have multiple weaknesses, for example.
Then you put them all in the warm-up.
Yeah.
So my warm-up is calves, my skinny calves, my skinny arms. Yep, exactly. So I do 2-3 sets heavy on the calf, then 2-3. So the superset bicep tricep every day for training. I'll activate my hammies by doing cable like 2 sets, like the banded curls, 2 sets on each. And then that's usually it with some rear delt stuff, and that's my warm-up to start the session. Then I'll go into the second type of weaknesses, which is, for example, getting the hammies to work on a deadlift movement.
Stiff leg, you do a lot.
So I'll do stiff leg, or I'll do deficit stiff leg and everything, and that'll be 2-3 times a week. So I'll do good mornings once, deficit stiff leg once, and RDLs once, because my hammies have to work heavy in a deadlift type movement. So that's still high volume, but I can't do 5 times a week, so I do 3 times a week, right? Upper pec 3 times a week because I have a tendency not to fire. So I use a lot of bends because then they keep the tension directly into the muscle, which I like, and then I go heavy on that as well. So the better I am a movement, the less often I need to do it. So the yoke carries, I do it once a week because it's so much weight and it blows up my mid-back, but once a week is fine because it's a strength. So the more it is a weakness, the more I go toward volume and muscle capacity. The more it is a strength, the more I blast it.
That muscle memorization.
Exactly.
And going.
You just have to keep going.
And so you like to go lighter weights or mid weights?
No, I just like to go heavy.
Heavy weights.
Heavy weights, but you have to understand what I mean by heavy weights. It does not mean it feels heavy on your back. It means low reps. So I actually like to go 10-7-4. You get the idea, right? Roughly 10-7-4 as a scheme, 3 sets, max weight for 10, max weight for 7, max weight for 4 on any weaknesses that I have. After that, it's how many times per week am I going to do it. Yeah. If I go towards something like a simple muscle like the bicep, because it's not a compound movement, it's a single joint movement, then I'll do it 5 times. If I go toward a more complex movement like the deadlift, I'll do it stiff leg deadlift, Romanian or off the floor or whatever, and now I'll do it 3 times a week. Recovery becomes a problem. Like I have my back recovers very fast, so I can just blast my hammies on a deadlift and still recover. That might not be everybody, but in my case, it works. I need to squat often because otherwise the legs just don't catch up.
Yeah.
Other things do, but that one doesn't.
So what would a tip for you be to someone who doesn't know their way in approaching weaknesses yet?
Right, so you're going to have to establish what those weaknesses are first. So you're going to have some experience, which means that's why at first, the first year of training, don't worry about it. Do everything. Do some calisthenics, do some bodybuilding, do some strength work, do some CrossFit, do everything. After 1 year or 2 years doing all that, you're going to start to see that, let's say you do just CrossFit, some muscles seem to develop just fine. For women, usually it's side delts, quads, traps. Others seems to not catch up. Maybe it's the lats, maybe it's a bicep. If you have big lats, usually you have weak biceps. If you have strong biceps, usually you have weak lats. Not always, but it's a very common thing. Are your hammies developing at the rate that your quads do? Then you start spotting stuff like that, going like, I need extra work on my hammies, I need extra work on my glutes or stuff like that. So the question is extra, how much extra, right? So then we go through the weight scale. What exercise can I introduce? I usually go compound first and then more specialized as we go, more isolated as we go. Like I need to do curls because otherwise my biceps just don't get enough work. I wish my biceps would get enough work out of rope pulls and weighted pull-ups, which I do as well. They just don't. It's just not enough. To some people it might be good for you. For me it isn't. So that means that I need to add the curls. Because otherwise they won't go anywhere, right? So is bench pressing and doing thrusters and pressing enough for your triceps to develop? Yes, awesome. No, we're going to need to put some GM presses in there, which is my problem. My back, for example, I do 1 set of rows per week with the deadlift that I do. It's enough. It keeps on growing, so I don't have to attack it.
Yeah, and I think it's also like a cool discovery, like what you're, for example, an athlete who discovers, weaknesses or this, if that is a cool discovering of yourself, like what do I like, how do I approach it and stuff like that.
So-
It's a cool.
Yeah, how do you approach it? When you have a weakness, usually you will notice that mobility is a problem.
Yeah, that's what I noticed a lot
On
with my
weaknesses,
Hemis,
because you don't have the full contraction of the muscle throughout the range of motion, right? So that's the definition of mobility. It's tension throughout the range of motion. My advice is do partials.
What's that?
Partials, like just a partial movement.
Oh,
Like
okay.
don't try to do the full movement with lightweight
Uh-huh.
thinking that it's two approaches. You do a full movement and you start loading up, right? Or you do partials at a weight and over time you develop the mobility that way. I think the second way, at least for me, works better, which means I do partial weight, partial range of motion at a certain weight, and then as I get more and more comfortable with the weight, usually my mobility increases, and then I get to a certain spot, and then I start to increase the weight, and then do it like that. That allows me to keep working on neural output, because the weight is always challenging. If I go on a weight that feels light, that is not challenging, I might be able to do the movement without hurting, but it's detrimental to neural output in the sense that you won't develop it. To be strong, partials are, I believe partials are better, so that, and then you'll develop the mobility. Mobility is not a piece of meat physiological thing. Mobility is really a nervous system thing where your body will not let you go past a certain range of motion because it thinks you're at risk. And it thinks you're at risk because you're too weak in that particular range of motion. So strengthening yourself through partials will allow you to increase your mobility even though you're not going there. But because the muscle is stronger, the nervous system knows it can be stretched further and therefore will increase your mobility even without doing the actual range of motion. People think to increase the range of motion, the mobility, sorry, they need to go to that particular range of motion. That's not true. If you increase your strength in a specific range of motion, you'll see that your mobility overall will increase because the stronger muscle can be used better. And you see it all the time. And the confidence that you gain from the heavier weights means that at a lighter weight you'll be able to open up.
Yeah. And what if there's a trauma in your weakness, and is it then still a good idea to approach it every single day because it might put you in fail, right?
But it's a recovery thing. Like, so you have a trauma, that means at first it's going to be very hard to make you actually work the muscle. So we're going to have to go through that. Once we touch it, you might be very, very sore and not recover right away. So it's always based on recovery. I can do arms every day because they're so weak that it doesn't tax me. It's really not taxing me. Like I can do.
I just love sometimes how blunt you are.
But yeah, but it's true. I can do heavy pull-ups after doing bicep work, and I do exactly the same weight. Sometimes I do even more weight because my biceps are activated. So now they're warm. They can actually. That's how weak they are. So it makes no difference. And the next day I don't feel them, so I do it again. It makes no difference. So that's how I know. And then so I could probably increase it to 6 times a week. So when you start to hit a trauma, like you'll see the next day, you're like, oh no, then all right, then it's twice a week at first. With the idea of building up to 5 times a week so you can just stay on all the time. And then you just put it as part of your warm-up. 3 sets, heavy, neural output, connection to the muscle. So neural output, muscle quality, they're linked. Once the muscle quality is high, it's not a weakness anymore, you decide to do it a bit less, or if you need to keep them activated like me, then you just put them part of your warm-up.
And if the activation of that traumatized muscle puts you into a fail because you're so freaked out of feeling the muscle.
All right, we'll do a podcast on that one. Because we can do a podcast on that. But then when we start to go into trauma relating to that, is like the fail that it puts you in will have to do with fear, will have to do with where you are. It depends how you got hurt in the process, really a lot. How old were you? How long was it? Did you deal with it? And which movement?
Then it becomes more of a mental thing, right?
There's both. There's a mental aspect because you might not want to touch it still because it's too. It was attached to too big of a fail that you just don't want to revisit that. But there's also the physiological aspect is how do we touch the movement pattern that hurt you. So for example, for you at some point for your hammy, concentric work is not the key. It'll be eccentric work because that's how you got hurt. You got hurt during the eccentric part of the movement, not the concentric part of the movement. Which means that's what we saw when we were on that hike, is on the way down, on the way downhill from the mountain, your leg started shaking because the hammy had to work in an eccentric fashion,
Yeah.
which is the last step we need to take toward fixing your hammy.